Well, good evening, everyone. Everyone having a great time? Thank you. I'm June, and he's Mark, if you can't tell. I am extremely honored, or rather we're both extremely honored, to be here to help present this evening's Corporate Achievement Award to a corporation that's really near and close to both of our hearts. As a proud Verizon retiree, I'm only 28, I can still remember when we first engaged APAICS back in the mid-90s. It's been over 20 years. Back then, Verizon was known as Bell Atlantic, and APAICS was known as CAPACI. How many people remember CAPACI? Oh, it stood for Coalition for Congressional Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies, right? Something like that. Well, our first initiative as Verizon, or rather Bell Atlantic with APAICS, was the creation of the Leadership Academy, which is still APAICS's signature program. I think some of the folks in the room this evening participated yesterday and today at the Leadership Academy, and I hope you walk away with something very important to help you in your career to enter the political arena. Since then, since our first engagement, Verizon continues to be a steadfast supporter of APAICS in its mission to build a pipeline for AAPI political leaders, as well as to empower, to inspire, to educate, and to connect our community. With that, I now pass the microphone to Mark.
Thank you, June. Accepting the award on behalf of the company is Emilio Gonzalez. Emilio runs the Strategic Alliances program at Verizon, which helps connect people, organizations, and causes that are near and dear to Verizon's corporate interests with the community's interests. And Emilio has been a longtime supporter and a longtime generous, strong supporter of the Asian Pacific American community, and APAICS in particular, and I know this because I worked with him for many, many years. But his commitment to our community and his motivation for why he does what he does isn't limited to professionalism. It isn't because of the job. It's much more personal. As an immigrant from Cuba, he arrived in the shores, struggled to make ends meet, was able to study hard, make it through Harvard, and found his American dream. So he decided to raise a couple of kids that he brought from China. And the two beautiful girls, one of whom is here, are the reasons why he's personally motivated to make sure that APAICS and all Asian Americans have a seat at the table. And that his motivation for making sure that our community succeeds is the same one that I have for my children and for your children as well. But more importantly, the idea that we have a seat at the table to ensure that the future of our nation judges people not on the way we look, but on how we treat each other, just like you heard from Senator Cory Booker. The idea that our nation's promise is to ensure that everybody's treated equally, fair and just under the law. That's part of Emilio's DNA, but it's also part of Verizon's DNA. In fact, it's part of its corporate creed. And that's why we're so proud, as former fellow employees of Verizon, to present this award on behalf of APAICS to Verizon for its Corporate Achievement Award. So with that, we'd ask Emilio Gonzalez to come on out and accept this award.
Good evening, everyone. What Mark and June didn't tell you tonight is what wonderful teachers they are. When I first started at Verizon, they taught me everything I know today about this community, its challenges and its opportunities. They also didn't tell you how deep their passion runs for the community, and I thank them. We're lucky to have them both. Thank you both. I try to start each day learning something new, and I have to tell you tonight I've learned something new, which is not a good idea to follow Senator Booker up here. But I'll do my best. In fact, I think I'm going to frame my remarks by a very powerful and lasting lesson I've learned long ago from a sixth grader. You see, I used to work in the Clinton administration when I had dark hair, and I visited a school in California, cutting-edge school, and during my visit, I walked through the computer lab, and there's this young girl typing away, and I asked her what she was working on. And she said, I'm writing an essay on Socrates. I said, that's a pretty heavy subject, sixth grader. What's your conclusion? And she looked at me and said, Socrates was a great man. He talked too much, so they killed him. So I will be brief. This is a great honor for us tonight at Verizon. We work very hard at diversity and inclusion. We do so not just because it's the right thing to do, but we do so because it's good business in a highly diverse marketplace. And I'll just give you 3 quick data points to share with you our progress. Today, our workforce is comprised of 60% women and minorities. In the last 5 years, we have spent $25 billion with a B with women and minority suppliers. And we enjoy one of the most diverse boards of directors in all of corporate America who lead us through this. So it's a village. I want to thank my Verizon family who's here with me tonight, Donna Epps and Kathy Grillo. I want to thank you not only for your support, your friendship, but your tireless commitment to the work we do. Couldn't do it without you. I want to take a moment to thank APAICS because I've grown to love them. And Floyd, Helen, Kathy, the entire family, it is a joy to work with you. I think the Chinese proverb of the longest journey begins with the first step. You have taken many of those steps on behalf of the community. We thank you. And to Secretary Mineta, I want to say thank you for your vision. You have helped build a pipeline that is rich and deep. In fact, today I had a chance to talk to many of the members of APAICS at a tech panel. And I can tell you this, you are in very good hands. They were fair, they were tough. We disagreed on some things, but we did it without being disagreeable with one another, which is something we need more of in our politics. Finally, I want to thank all of you for coming out. Whether you're a sponsor, a supporter, a volunteer, a guest, this matters. And you being here matters. And whether your support is financial or in spirit, this community needs it. And I look forward to joining you next year. I thank you for listening, and I wish you all a great night. Thank you.